Do you like surprises? The reason I ask is that recently my wife took our daughter for a checkup at the orthodontist. Now, we love our orthodontist, she's the best, but something happened that often used to happen in my own salons. So I guess it was karma that I was on the receiving end of it for a change. Let me explain. At the end of the checkup, the orthodontist said to my wife, Indigo will need an extra retainer in case she loses or breaks this one. Now that definitely makes a lot of sense. So the orthodontist went ahead and made an impression of Indigo's teeth, and when my wife came home, she was raving about the experience and the great service, and she said, and she even made an extra retainer for free. It'll arrive tomorrow. So the next day, the retainer arrived, and so did a surprise bill for £95. Now, I'm not quibbling about the price, and I'm happy to pay for it. But the point is, my wife didn't know that she was going to pay for it because she wasn't told that it was extra. So she assumed it was inclusive, and that's the problem. And that often happens in salons as well. You see, it's the surprise factor, that what you thought you were going to pay and what they ended up paying were two totally different things. That unexpected surprise can be the cause of ruining the relationship, or at very least, putting a strain on it. You see, the orthodontist should have said something like this. Indigo will need an extra retainer in case she loses or breaks this one. It will be an additional £95. Are you happy for me to go ahead with that today? At which point, my wife would have said, yes, definitely. But she might have said, actually, could I get you to hold off on that at the moment, and I'll get it done next time? You see, the obvious analogy with some salons is that oftentimes clients receive something like a toner or perhaps a treatment, and they're not always explained what the additional cost is, which then leaves the client standing at the front desk feeling awkward at best, but possibly annoyed to the point where you might lose them. You see, the obvious solution is to always make sure that you inform clients of the costs of any additional services before you do them. After recommending an additional product or service and explaining the additional cost, you should use phrases like, would you like to go ahead with that today? Or perhaps, would that be okay? Or, have you got time for that today? For example, you might say, because your hair is very dry at the moment, I recommend that you have a protein and moisturizing treatment. It's an additional £20 or $20. Would you like to go ahead with that today? Or perhaps during a colour consultation, you might say something like, with your colour service today, it should be £95 or $150, but because of the length of your hair, I may need to use additional product, which will be an extra £10 or $15. Is that okay with you today? Or you might say something like, I may be able to get the right shade of blonde with a high lift tint, but I might also need to apply a toner, which will be an additional £20 or $30. Are you okay with that? You see, using phrases like this will guarantee that the client is aware of the process and aware of any potential cost implications. You'll sound more professional, and there won't be any misunderstandings when it's time to pay the bill. So thank you for watching, and if you've got any comments or feedback, it's always appreciated, so put them in the comment section below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then click the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the 2-Minute Salon Manager. So have a great week.